And welcome back to Nancy's Neighborhood. And I always love it when my producer says, "Are you ready?" And I say, "Yes." And all of a sudden he says, "You're on." So here I am, folks. I'm back on. And my second guest is Sandy Farow. And she's my neighbor. She's my real neighbor, Nancy's Neighborhood out on the river. She's my real neighbor there. And she has become an author she and her sister,
Yes.
by taking writings and poetry of her dad's. So,
Yes.
Sandy, tell us a little bit of, well, first of all, why did you do this?
Well, my dad wrote 3 folklore books.
Okay.
And well, one of those stories, as a matter of fact, was one of the floating coffin.
Yes, Spirits, Legends, and Lore.
Spirits, Legends,
Yes.
and Lore. That was the basis for that one, about the floating coffin. And he would just be so excited to know that that's being carried on all the way down here in Tennessee, because he is from Brown, West Virginia. That's where he was born. And I just think he would really feel really excited that, oh my gosh, my books are still around.
Well, let me ask you about those books, about those stories that he wrote. Were those based on things he grew up knowing in West Virginia? Or
Yeah, the first one is The Witch of Hooker Holler.
Okay.
And that happens to be, Hooker Holler is where my Aunt Hazel and her whole family lived.
She wasn't the witch, was she?
She was not the witch.
Okay, good, good.
No, she was a very kind lady.
Okay.
But there are many, many stories in that holler back there, that he picked up, and then picked up more about West Virginia. And then he went, because he lives on the Eastern Shore, he proceeded to do 2 down there. He went around, listened to stories, and then he was able to put those 2. So he has 3 books, and he died before he was able to put his poetry together.
Oh, okay.
So I swore that when I retired that I was going to put them all together. He was in World War II. He joined in 1943, 10 years after he married my mom. And he was stationed in Jacksonville, Florida for basic training, then went to the Panama Canal Zone.
Okay.
And I found out that he was an aviation machinist mate. And the planes that he worked on were the PV Harpoon bombers, which were also used to find submarines, to locate submarines as well. So that's just something lately I've learned about, and I couldn't wait to share it. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about, but I will in another month or so.
Yes, I understand.
As I study a little bit more.
Yes.
But after he finished working in the Navy for us, he attended Potomac State College in West Virginia, and then ended up moving us to Salisbury, Maryland. And that is where he taught English and speech, and eventually economics.
Wow,
So
that's kind of a jump.
He jumped all around, but he never stopped reading his poetry or writing poetry. There is a poem in here, as a matter of fact, about the Iran hostage crisis.
Oh, wow.
So he continued to write all the way through. So what I figured I'd do is, I've been out for a year now. This is my 2nd year of retirement.
Yes.
Oh, it's not bad at all.
I can imagine.
So my sister and I got together, and we started putting them all together. So we called part of it Reflections of a World War II Sailor, and the other one is Reflections of his life in West Virginia, and the stories. And the nice thing about Daddy, he was very exact, and my sister is very much like him. He even put the dates that he wrote them.
How neat.
So on many of the poems, it'll say 1944, or, you know, that kind of thing. So that was kind of exciting to see that, and to just kind of get a feel for it. So with us, this is basically what I did, and Dr. Joel Huffstetler, which is my priest.
Yes.
And I know he's well known in this area with books.
Yes.
He told me about Parsons Porch Books.
Okay.
So I called David Tulloch, and I said, I think I need to do this. And he said, send me what you got, and let's see what happens. And this is what happened.
You called it driftwood.
Daddy called it driftwood
Oh, okay.
because the second or third page in here is the reason that he wrote it, or what he intended was, see how fast I can pass by it.
Yeah.
There it is, driftwood. Drifting thoughts, like drifting wood, are cast upon the beach. Some are bad, and some are good, but all within our reach. The good I've parted from the bad, and placed within this book, in hopes to make some sad heart glad, if they but pause and look. And I have his original photocopied with it.
Now, was that one dated?
That would, no, it's
No,
not dated,
okay,
but that's what he started with
Okay.
back in 1944.
I think that's fantastic. So, so after he left the military, after World War II, he became a professor,
Became a teacher, a good old,
just like you.
just like me.
That's
Or,
good.
No, I became just like him.
Okay, got it.
And I also went into education in the language arts vein, and my sister went into the math vein.
Economics,
So when we
yes.
put our heads together, we become a little daddy.
Oh, okay. How neat. I got you.
So,
Okay.
So she was able to find the specific things that were wrong because she is so exact. And I see whole picture and she sees parts.
I
So
understand.
together we work pretty good.
And I think that's great. And you're still sisters, and you're still speaking to each other.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think that's marvelous.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful. It's pretty, and that's evidently your dad's
That's
picture.
my dad.
And when he was in the Navy, and I just think it's absolutely marvelous. And we were just talking about we need to have a book signing and
Yes.
and sell some books to pay for publishing.
Yes, that'd be nice.
That would be nice. Okay, but the first part is because you got a table of contents through the eyes of a World War II sailor,
Yes.
and then you have reflections of life.
Yes.
So it's beautiful. It's beautiful stories, and I started reading last night, and I enjoyed it. And I see this one is dated. My wife's birthday is dated in 1941.
Yes.
And so some of them do have the dates on them, and it's really it's just simple reading. But the thing about it is, and I don't know whether you intended this or not, but sometimes some of us get asked to speak at something or
Yes.
read a little something or
Yes.
share a little something. This is awesome, folks, for sharing a little something.
They're short poems. I think his longest one was a couple of them, but one of the longest one was The Perfect Mold. And
Okay.
that, and my sister and I feel kind of like it was about Mom.
Oh, okay.
Because he was very much in love with my mom.
Okay.
And her with him, and her pictures at the end
Yes,
of it.
yes.
So that's a good one to talk to get a feel for how he felt about her.
And you do have several pictures in the book, which I think
Yes.
are so nice to do that.
Yes.
And he even wrote a eulogy to Franklin Roosevelt.
Yes. Oh, that was who he really admired.
So there's two sections of the book, folks. Here's this section and here's this section. and Cindy and her sister, I think, have done a beautiful job with this. How long did it take you?
Well, Daddy had organized them already
Oh.
in a book, and the nice thing about the small loose leaf book that he had,
Okay.
it was called Invincible, and when you open it up, he had all of his Navy. This is where I was and what I did.
Oh, okay.
So it really went with him wherever he went.
Okay.
So I just really felt inspired,
Yes,
holding on to Daddy's
right.
Invincible
Almost
notebook.
like a diary.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and in all of it had them already laid out. So Ruth and I just said, which ones do you like? Which ones do I like? And then we looked to see which ones were the same.
Okay, so not everything is in here.
Oh no, I
Okay.
could do another whole book.
Well, I was just going to say, do we have volume 2 planned?
There is a possibility.
Okay, very
I want
good.
to see what this one does.
Very good. Okay, you were going to read one for us?
Sure, I thought with Veterans Day coming up,
Right.
excuse me, It's one of my favorite that he does. It seems like it's very fitting for today. It's called Old Glory Waves. Old glory waves in splendor, rippling in the evening breeze, casting its long moving shadows among the swaying trees. For the evening sun is setting in a blaze of fiery red, and the sighing of the palm trees seem to whisper of the dead. For many years she's waved and rippled here beneath the tropic sun, and may ripple here forever, for her work can ne'er be done. Always must she guard that water, making shorter route for trade. May her glory stand undimmed by time eternal, or the stitch that man has made. Oh, I know it's only bunting as I now before her stand, but I'm proud that she's before me in this strange and foreign land. And I'm glad that I am living underneath that tattered flag, for in our hearts we stand united, and may that union never lag. For many men have died in battle underneath those stars and stripes, and it's world peace and lasting freedom for which again we fight. And now the shades of night are lowered, and now the flag is placed away, but it shall fly again tomorrow at the dawning of the day.
What year?
I'm thinking this was when he was in Panama, so I'm thinking 44, 45. He didn't put a date on this one.
Well, I noticed he said palm trees and foreign land.
Right.
So,
And the thing I'm pretty sure that was in Panama or the stitch that man has made. So I think that was the Panama Canal that he was talking about, because I know he was stationed there for most of his time.
Okay. All right.
In Costa Rica.
So
right
if
there.
anyone's interested in purchasing a book from you,
Yes.
how do they get in touch with you?
Well, you can pick them up at at the Red Ribbon.
I will have them.
We'll have some there. And if you go online to Amazon, he is right there.
Oh, fantastic.
They're $16.95.
Okay.
So come on down to Nancy's. I'll give her several, and she'll have them. And then we'll have our book signing.
Yes. Nice.
It'll
Other
be
books.
nice. Yeah, these are out of print because Daddy just didn't think about that. So really, this might be my next thing.
That's what I was wondering.
Is to put them in this form, because Parsons Porch was so helpful.
And that's good to know for authors.
Yes, and it was, and the thing that really kind of helped me was when the chamber had the storytelling workshop and the author. So I went to that, and that's when Dr. Hufstetler said, stop by my office after service and we'll talk.
Okay, fantastic.
So he kind of put me onto this.
Okay.
Onto Mr. Tulloch. So it couldn't have been easier. If you've ever thought about just putting poetry together, I even thought about going through all my school notes and things and kind of writing, memoirs of 42-year middle school teacher. Yes, I love those middle school kids. I love that age.
Good for you. Good for you. Sandy, thank you so much for being on with me today. And I will have these at the Red Ribbon. And $16.95. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
yes.
It says that right there. I'm sorry. Yes, there it is on the back. And I just think this is wonderful. And anybody that wants to write can talk to Sandy or go on Amazon and order Driftwood, because it is there on Amazon now. So, Sandy, thank you so much for being on with me.
Well, thank you
appreciate
so much
it.
for having me.
And I'll see you in the neighborhood.
You. And I'll see you this evening.
Yes, in the neighborhood. We will be in the neighborhood. Folks, don't go away. We're going to take a little commercial break. Watch our commercials, support our sponsors, because they pay our bills, and I'll be right back.